Our canal has been a gigantic work, infinitely more difficult than I first supposed. 6 miles through a great forest of immense trees, which had to be sawed off 4 feet underwater, and then through cypress swamp thickly studded with cypress knees. Doing the work with the Army alone have furnished us with the amount of labor surpassing anyone's belief who has not seen it. We now have a canal 50 feet wide, 4 feet deep, and 6 miles long, through which large steamers can pass and all our supplies be delivered to us.
When I learned that Sherman's army was marching through the salt swamps, making its own corridor roads at the rate of 12 miles a day and more, I made up my mind that there had been no such army in existence since the days of Julius Caesar.
The American Civil War continues to capture the imagination of Americans no matter where in this nation they live today. My fascination with this important episode of our history and heritage, probably more than anything else, brought me to history as a career. I can easily argue that the South had huge advantages in waging that epic struggle. Most of the war was certainly fought in the South. The Confederate armies in the field had no need for technically complex logistical support. Southern generals knew firsthand the local geography. They lived there. They knew the bend of every road and river. Their neighbors provided them reliable, detailed intelligence on every Union troop movement. The South could easily pick the site and terrain of each battle to best favor their own strengths. So it proves hard to imagine that possessing a few less mechanics, civil engineers, and skilled tradesmen within the ranks of the Confederate Army could make any difference in the final outcome of the conflict. My book, Engineering Victory: How Technology Won the Civil War, explains precisely how that apparently minor difference actually proved the decisive factor. Understanding the key role of technology in that specific conflict constitutes not some fluke of history, but in fact represents an important lesson applicable to the defense of our way of life even today. Superiority in engineering, not better military strategy or an industrial advantage, dictated the war's outcome. The skills Union soldiers used to great advantage during the war, bridge building, railroad repair, and road construction, created surprise and frustrated the enemy time and time again. Those skills arose not from any military preparation, but as a natural consequence of the North's industrialization and their investment in educational systems to serve that economy. To support manufacturing, Northern states had developed educational methods that spread the most effective techniques among their mechanics and artisans. Manufacturing generated a different work-related order than that of the South. While plantations that utilized slavery generated fabulous wealth for a tiny percent of the population, it stifled the growth of a class of skilled and respected tradesmen who could accomplish the resourceful engineering operation the Union forces used so successfully to win the war. The Confederate Army most certainly had engineering abilities that allowed them to lay out effective trench works and fortifications. The defense works around Vicksburg, Atlanta, and Petersburg were examples of their knowledge and skill. Yet, when innovation was required, when materials were scarce, and when time was of the essence, Union engineers came up with the truly unique solutions. These solutions proved decisive in the war's crucial campaigns. Island number 10, Vicksburg, Chattanooga, Atlanta, Petersburg, and the Carolina Campaign. In each case, Union generals capitalized on extraordinary engineering feats to win. The Union engineers and tradesmen delivered. Union generals needed to control 750,000 square miles of territory and defeat an army of experienced hunters and horseback riders, adept at the skills one needed to continuously disrupt the North's long and tenuous supply lines. Engineering Victory: How Technology Won the Civil War tells the incredible story of how an army of mill workers and machinists overcame both the challenges of the South's vast natural terrain and the superior riding skills of Confederate cavalry that constantly threatened the North's long and tenuous supply lines to win the Civil War.